Hello and welcome to the demo of my personal project DuelMasters. This is a game made by Wizards of the Coast, and if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, it's quite similar. It had an anime back in the day, and this game holds a lot of personal value for me. That's why I wanted to make a digital version of it, and here is my work in progress. I now want to take a moment to bring your attention to the cards here and just go over the basic rules. The shields you see on screen is the shield zone. It consists of 5 cards which are taken from the top of the deck at the beginning of the game. This is basically a health pool. Each attack from an enemy creature breaks 1 shield, and you lose the game when a creature attacks you when you are at 0 shields. You win by doing the same to your opponent. The highlighted card here is a spell card. Spells have effects which activate when they are played, after which they are then sent to the graveyard. Each card also has a mana cost associated with it. The mana cost of a card is the number displayed at the top left corner of the card. This is a creature card. You summon it to the field and use it for attacking and for any other effects that it may have. All creature cards have a power rating, which is used to determine the result of a battle between 2 creatures. The game progresses by alternating turns between the players. Each turn is made up of several steps. Right now, we are in the mana step, during which the turn player decides which card to put into the mana zone, if any. Here I've put Metal Wing Sky Terror in the mana zone. The game then progresses to the next step, that is, the main step. For this turn I only have one option, so I'll summon Deadly Fighter Braid Claw. Now, to speed things up and also because being the developer I can do anything I want, I'll be a bit cheeky and go back to the mana step. You'll see me charge mana and draw cards whenever I want to in this video, so I just wanted to point this out to you. At this point, having 3 creatures in the field, I decide to attack with all of them. For this, we end our main step and then proceed to the attack step. I attacked with Braid Claw and broke 1 shield. Broken shields are added to your hand and you can then use them like normal. For this next section, I want to show a restricted summoning mechanic. For this, I will first summon Immortal Baron Vogue. Do note that each creature has a parameter called race associated with it. Vogue's race is a human, and this will be important soon. Just charging mana again. Now, I'll summon Armored Cannon Balbaro. Balbaro is an evolution creature of the race human. This means that you can only summon it on top of another human, after which it is only considered as one creature. This is called an evolution summon. The card Bronze Arm Tribe in my hand has an effect which triggers when it is played. There are many effects like this in the game which take place when something happens and the necessary conditions are met. What Bronze Arm does is that it adds the top card of the deck to the mana zone when it is summoned. Let's see this in action. Next, we'll go over some more effects. The spell Dimension Gate has an effect which lets you choose a creature from a deck and add it to your hand. I wanted to showcase this particular spell to you to also show you the UI overlay for the card selection. This overlay comes up whenever any effect takes place which asks you to choose something from the deck. For the layout design, I took inspiration from Magic the Gathering Arena. All cards which meet the condition are available for you to select and shown at the beginning, while unavailable cards are grayed out and shown at the end. The last card whose effects we will be checking out is Astro Comet Dragon. Do note that these are just some of the many effects that I have implemented so far. Astro Comet Dragon has two very powerful keywords. One is Double Breaker, which lets it break 2 shields while attacking instead of just 1, and the second is Power Attacker, which boosts its power by some value when it is attacking. Now let's see these in action. As you can see, I am choosing 2 shields for Astro Comet to break. Also, if you pay attention, you'll notice that its power increases while attacking and then resets when it's back. Welcome to the last section of this video, in which I'll describe the project structure and go over some of the salient features of the way I've set up the game. First, we'll look at the card data editor. Cards can have multiple effects or no effects, and each effect is described by an object of type effect data. Each effect data has an effect condition and an effect function. The condition describes the condition necessary for playing the card, if any, and the function describes what the effect itself does. Both of these also have targeting data associated with them. This might be how many cards to affect, whether those cards need to be of a specific type or be in a specific zone, and so on and so forth. For both the functions and the conditions, I have set up a variety of different enums to describe them. These, along with other primary data types, are used to encode all the features necessary. I have also set up a custom editor to streamline the entire process of encoding this data. Now, I'd like to take a moment to set up an effect and go through the different parts. For starters, I'd like to focus on the condition. What you see here are all the different conditions which may need to be met for the card to be a valid play. Here, I'm setting up the targeting parameters for the condition check. We can check for all or a number of cards, check for the exact number or at least or up to that number, and in any of the zones of either the player or the opponent or both. We can also add a targeting condition to check if the cards under consideration need to be of a specific type, race, civilization, etc. Here we now have the different types of effects which a card may have. Each type has other enums associated with it. There are different types for keywords, for describing the zones for movement, and so on. For example, this function here describes an effect which lets the player choose and destroy one creature in the opponent's battle zone whose power is less than 4000. Next, I would like to go over the structure of the code base itself. Here's the card data editor, which is the custom editor which I mentioned earlier. The card generator was used to generate the scriptable objects of all cards with the raw data. In my project, I have a base card data type. From this, creature data and spell data inherit to set up specialized functionalities. Then, I have the card layout data objects. These take care of how a card is set up in the game, how it should look and when, and all graphical representations on screen. Then at last we have the card behaviors. These take care of the actual logic and functionality of all the different cards and their effects. Here now is the structure of my prefabs. The card layout is the parent prefab for all cards, of which there are two variants, the creature layout and spell layout. Let's look inside the creature layout first. For the prefabs themselves, I have just assigned some placeholder values. Each card is then instantiated according to its associated data on game start. Next here is the spell layout. As you can see, the layouts are very modular in their design. Each card can become another card by simply changing the references associated. The card assets themselves are all edited and set up by myself as well. I basically got my hands on a database of all DuelMaster card images and then edited them to create this modular framework. We are now looking at the gameplay scripts. These manage everything related to the core gameplay loop and functionality. There's the battle manager, which takes care of battles, card effect manager, which takes care of card effects, and game manager in charge of the basic gameplay loop. Then we also have different zone managers for managing the data and layouts associated with each zone of the game. We have different scripts for all the different UI functionalities, including the card browser we went through earlier. Then there are objects which take care of the different game steps. All of these are basically different states of a state machine which is controlled inside the game manager. We then have handlers for the data required during the gameplay. The keyword handler is associated with the different keywords which exist in the game. These keywords are represented by prefabs which are added to the card layouts, thus keeping in line with the goal of making the entire system very modular in nature. Finally, we have the controller scripts which take care of inputs and decisions by both the player and enemy AI. And certainly, not the least, we have simple scripts which take care of client-side functions for the player, such as dragging a card, making it hover, etc. We also have some utility scripts for extensions and such. And that's about it. Thank you so much for taking the effort of checking out my project. Your time and consideration means a lot to me. If you have any feedback, then please leave it in the comments. Once again, thank you and have a very good day.